Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first workshop in the DSGT Udemy Bootcamp series. It's a pleasure to have you today. So for this workshop, we're going to be introducing Python and going over some introductory syntax and patterns that will help in the later parts of, this bootcamp. So I guess just to kick us off, why do we use Python? So a couple of reasons, right? Number one, Python is easy to read and understand, which you'll see through these examples. Number two, there's lots of libraries for data science. And number three, it's one of the most popular languages for data science, alongside R, at least for today, right? So those are a couple of many reasons why we use Python. So I guess to kick us off, like some basics to know about Python are variables, if statements, and loops. So this syntax here is how you create a variable. So you can define your variable name on the left-hand side, and the value you want to assign is defined on the right-hand side of the equals. So for example, we can create a variable called a, right? So a is like some pointer or reference to a value. So this a will reference the value 5, and this b here will represent the value 15. Like it'll reference the value 15. And you can do operations with variables, just like you do in other programming languages. So if we run this cell here, we'll see that a plus b is 20 because 5 plus 15 is 20. C plus d is going to be data science is fun. It turns out in Python, we can actually combine strings together. So that's how this cell works. So that takes care of variables, right? But variables aren't good in and of itself unless we can do other things with it, right? So one thing fun we can do with variables is adding if statements. So if statements allow you to add control logic to your code. So you can run certain lines of code based on certain conditions that are met. So for example, in this code snippet, we have the values c plus d, those variables, right? We recall that c is the variable data science with the space after it, and d is the variable with value is fun. So c plus d, we want to check if that value is data science is fun. And if that statement is true, we're going to execute whatever's under the if statement, in this case, print correct. Otherwise, if this if statement is false, we're going to run the part under the else, right? So if we run this, we'll see that we get correct, right? Because c plus d is data science is fun, and that matches this condition here. So we print correct. Another important thing that helps like in coding, at least with Python, is the use of loops. So this example here is a for loop. So we can control how many times we want to repeat certain logic or repeat certain pieces of code until a condition has been met. So in the case of this for loop, right, we're going to go through all values in the range 0 to a. One thing I will tell you is that in the range syntax, this end number is exclusive. So if you recall in our example, a was 5, range 0, 5 means you're going to go through 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So range is essentially exclusive on the endpoint, but inclusive on the starting point. But anyway, like what will happen is because a is 5, we're going to print DSGT 5 times. So if you run the cell, we see that DSGT is printed 5 times. And one thing I will note is that in this bootcamp, we're using DeepNote as a substitute for a Jupyter Notebooks or Google Colab. And when you do the exercises, you guys will really enjoy like the functionality that DeepNote has to offer. But enough of that digression. So this is an example of another type of for loop. But in this case, instead of looping in a range, like controlling a fixed number of times, we can go through entries in a collection, right? So from earlier, we recall that C plus D is data science is fun, right? What we can do is we can go through each letter in data science is fun. So we can go through the D, the A, the T, the A, and the space, and so on. And Python will recognize that we're going through, essentially a list of characters, right? Because a string at the end of the day is a list of characters. And Python is smart enough to, understand that when we're saying for every letter in C plus D, Python knows that we're just going to go through every single character, right? So strings are essentially treated as a list of characters. But anyway, what will happen is if we run this code, we'll see data science is fun with the spaces in between is printed in this fashion. So that takes care of variables, if statements, and for loops. Hopefully, this helps you warm your feet up. And in the next video, we're going to be talking about some basic Python data structures that will help with the libraries that we're going to use in this course. But till then, have a good rest of your day and looking forward to seeing you in the next video.